Hello. In this video, we're going to show you the basics of scaling in and scaling out a TiDB cluster. Scaling means adding more resources to handle increased workload or removing resources when they're no longer needed. We have a brand new TiDB cluster here running on 5 different host machines. This cluster includes various components spread across these hosts. We have the TiDB component, which is the main database engine. We also have the PD component, which stands for placement driver and manages the cluster metadata. There's the TiKV component, which handles key value storage, and the TiFlash component, which provides analytical processing capabilities. We're demonstrating this on Google Cloud Platform, but these concepts are very portable to other cloud providers or even bare metal servers. The scaling procedures work the same way regardless of your infrastructure choice. Right now, we're working on the control node. This is where we manage our scale out and scale in processes. We have the TiUP Command-Line Tool installed on this control node. TiUP is the cluster management tool for TiDB that helps us deploy, start, stop, and scale our clusters. We also have our original topology file that we used to provision this cluster. This topology file basically contains a list of all the hosts and their assigned components. Let's start by creating a scale-out configuration file. We're going to use this configuration to add a new TiKV server to our cluster. At this point, we haven't actually created the new virtual machine yet. We'll do that in just a moment. When you're using the default values, you need to specify very little information other than the host IP address. Let's create one more machine so we can demonstrate horizontal scaling of our TiDB system. We'll assign it the next available IP address in our range. For our recommended configuration, we're using Rocky Linux, specifically Rocky Linux version 9. This is just a test setup that's relatively small and simple, but the same patterns apply to production environments. Of course, we need to make sure that all aspects, like networking, are set up properly so that everything can communicate with each other. It's important to note that we're using a single SSH key pair across all of our virtual machines for simplicity. We have a public key and a private key, and the private key is stored on our control node. Let's grab this public key and make sure that the new virtual machine we just created can be connected to using that SSH key pair. We'll add the public key to the new machine and save it. Now, as usual with the TiDB system, we want to use the TiUP cluster check command to make sure that everything performs as we expect. We have our scale-out configuration file ready, going to specify a user called demo, which is what we've used in our case. We'll also specify our SSH key to connect to the new machine. The check command will examine the new machine to see if it's ready to join the cluster. We can see that a number of different configuration points for the machine are not yet set up properly. The most important issue that's really going to block us is SE Linux. SE Linux is a security feature that can interfere with TiDB operations, so let's fix that issue and ignore the other warnings for now. We'll run a couple of quick commands to disable SE Linux on the new machine. After that, we can exit the SSH session and rerun our check. Hopefully, the SE Linux check will now be passing. Indeed, we can see that we're now passing the SE Linux check. Let's go ahead and scale out our cluster. To remind you what our current setup looks like, we'll use the TiUP cluster display command. Right now, we have just 2 TiKV nodes. These are dedicated nodes sitting on their own machines, while we have many other processes and components running on 3 other separate machines. We want to change that configuration. Note that all of our components are currently up and running. Let's go ahead and run our scale-out operation since we've tested it. We'll use the TiUP Cluster Scale-Out command. Some of the flags we're using might not be strictly necessary, but the key things here are our configuration file and the name of the cluster that we want to use for this scale-out operation. The system will ask us to confirm that we want to proceed. Yes, we indeed do want to go ahead and continue. This operation will also need to refresh configurations across our other components so that the new node can join the cluster cleanly. Now let's run the display command again, and look at that. We now have 3 TiKV nodes that are all up and running. The scale-out operation was successful. We can similarly use the TiUP Cluster Scaling command to remove components from the system. All we need to do is specify the node address of the component we want to remove. This will remove that component from the system. For example, if we didn't really want to deal with the monitoring stack, we could take the Alert Manager component and use that in a scale-in operation to delete our Alert Manager component. Let's proceed to go ahead and do that. We'll confirm the operation, and now if we display the cluster, we can see there's no Alert Manager at the top of the list anymore. It's important to note that even though these components are all running on the same machines, you should think about the scale-in operation as affecting a specific component. The term node here doesn't necessarily equate to a virtual machine. We can, for example, also delete the Grafana instance and the Prometheus instance as well if we wanted to. All of these changes are visualized in the TiDB dashboard, so you can see all three of our TiKV components up and running on these three respective virtual machines. The dashboard provides a real-time view of your cluster's health and performance. If you'd like to support the channel, consider starting a free trial of our new design tool, which is linked in the description, and let us know what you think. If you have any questions, please post them in the comment section, and we'll do our best to respond. Thank you very much for watching to the end, and please enjoy it responsibly.